we're busy, right? And we have a competing list of priorities. What do I need to get done today? And service members and veterans, one of our attributes, would say one of our virtues, is that we can delay gratification, or we can deprioritize our own interests at times for the sake of mission. And that mission, even outside of service, oftentimes can look like caring for families, getting assignments in on time. And so reaching out to a population specific to the service members and veterans that are accustomed to, and I think rightfully wear it as a badge of honor, to not focus on themselves and not think, what do I need to be doing or what will be helping me right now? But I have a list of, again, important and necessary missions or tasks I need to get as best I can. I think that's how I would articulate saying, hey, service members, veterans, we have all of these activities and these resources out here. But what we need you to do is we need you to prioritize yourselves to come out to these different events. Not that it's impossible, and I will commend Liberty, the Greater Liberty University campus, but specifically their military affairs office, just been phenomenal. What's that look like at Liberty University? They do military family appreciation days at least once, sometimes twice a year here, where they'll have a full day. We have the artificial ski resort here at Liberty University called Snowflex, where that will be exclusively for military connected families that also attend Liberty University, and even the alumni. So it stretches beyond just those here on campus or in our online community. And so that one's been a really big draw. I know my family and I have come out a number of times for that, and we've always enjoyed it. That's one of many environments that they've seen as important to get the service members and their families out and to show recognition. They, in and around that same time, they'll have free tickets to events to include their hockey games and football games, during which, if you've never seen it, it's really worth coming out just to see the pregame and then the halftime show. Halftime show, they usually award, I forget the name of the award, but the annual award for a local veteran in the community, the service that they've done. And then before that, they do the raising of the flag. They do a reenactment, I should say, of the raising of the flag over Iwo Jima, which is, again, moving. So it is those kind of intentional activities that highlight the significance and demonstrate that here at Liberty University, we as a larger community see and recognize you, see and recognize the service that you've done, and in many ways honor that through these different activities. When I first started working here, there was a week in November around Veterans Day. There was like Military Appreciation Week. At this point, it's grown to like all of November, and I think threatening to spread out over all year, because the military affairs office certainly, but then the campus comes out and really supports them. And it's like they can't and seemingly can't get enough of these activities and things to recognize, and I believe really as best we can demonstrate how significant and important we think these people's sacrifices have been and are continuing to be. We have the students behind our service member students, behind our veterans. So every school has lots of clubs. And so one of them is exclusively designed to have members of the student body that do everything from like the shoebox or letters to soldiers, to a number of other activities. I probably couldn't even name them all throughout the school year, where it's the students that have recognized the importance and significance of honoring service members. And again, things from like sending letters and care packages out to them, to a number of other things focused here on the local community, on campus, and within the greater Lynchburg area where Liberty University is. Man, yeah, so that's just a few, but I could probably spend the rest of our time talking today about the number of things that the campus community here at Liberty University does. And I believe it's oftentimes centered around recognition first and foremost. We're saying that the sacrifice that these men and women and their families have and are enduring and continue to do are important, and we want to acknowledge that. And then they follow that up with, again, consistency with these events, and then really highlighting them by, in some ways, I think going over the top, like really making not a spectacle in a bad way, but a spectacle of how much we as Liberty University, we're Flames here, the Flames Nation says, no, this is a significant part of what we acknowledge and what we're about here. So I think Liberty does great. I'm sure there's areas where they could improve, like no one's perfect, but I think they're getting pretty close to perfect at this part, as far as really demonstrating their commitment to recognizing and honoring service members and their families. Service members and veterans in particular are a hard group to pull out and pull into a larger community setting, because oftentimes they're familiar with this kind of transient status, whether they've been on active duty for a number of years and they're used to that PCS mindset, we'll give it a couple of years. So they're good at being integrated without having to be like fully plugged in and kinetic. They have a healthy level of autonomy and agency outside of the larger community, which is a good thing, but I think also presents a challenge to integrate them at times into the larger community. We have a veteran center here, and a few years ago it expanded beyond just veterans. So it is any military connected student can come out as well. And it depends, I think it's semester to semester what their census looks like, because there's some semesters where you can't get a seat in that place at all. And there's some semesters where, on a slow day, it'll be about half. There's always traffic there. But I feel like it's been hard to determine what's the draw that semester. Most recently, they've got a great VSO president out there, and he's doing Bible studies nearly every single morning at 8 or 8:30. And that's got a pretty consistent draw of individuals out there as well. So I think that there's a fair amount of it in the student-led leadership between these groups, like the VSOs, like the student veterans. I think that they play a pretty dynamic role in getting military-connected students beyond seeing that they're recognized, they're appreciated on campus, and then integrated into these activities, these events, these different things. Again, Vet Center being one of them. But I think that's an ongoing challenge. And sometimes it feels like the goalposts kind of move. Hey, this was going really well last semester, but our census is down, I'm making up numbers, 20, 30%. And it's hard to put your finger on the pulse of what the change was. But I think it's one that Liberty's done a good job of increasingly focusing on and trying to figure out what's going to best serve. Because sometimes you can have some of the best events and activities and put them out there, and it's just misses the mark. It's like, that's not really what these students are looking for. So I think they do a really good job of this kind of iterative process of looking at the number of activities and initiatives that they're pushing for the military connected students and figuring out which ones are lasting and most impactful, and adjusting that or tailoring that year in and year out.